Alright guys, today we are going to be reacting to Trump's and Harris presidential debate 2024 behavior and body language. Let's jump in.
And forensic psychologist, as well as a body language expert. And today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris during their first debate. Before we get started with this analysis, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, the goal of this is not to be persuasive regarding one candidate or the other. I don't really care who you vote for, and the goal of this is to be politically neutral. Last thing before we get started is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go.
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
Now, you're already noticing that she's looking at the camera. So basically, her strategy is to try to talk directly to people at home. Now, that's going to contrast with how Donald Trump does it. I'm going to get into that in just a minute.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing.
And you may already notice that she's talking a lot with her hands. Now,
Man, I'm going to react to I saw to be honest, I saw the debate, folks. That debate was not that bad. Trump didn't do that bad. I mean, it seems like a lot of conservatives, they were too nervous. I saw the debate, man. He didn't do that bad. He did very well. I was just chuckling because she sounded so fake, man. So fake, but he did very good, in my opinion.
what research shows is that people that talk with their hands tend to be believed more. So doing this during something like a debate is an attempt to be persuasive. It's an attempt to be open. She's not blocking off the middle of her body, and she's talking with her hands. That means that she's being very visible. So the goal in that is to become more persuasive. Donald Trump oftentimes does this, but this debate's a little bit different. We'll get into that.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And
Now you're already noticing that he is looking at the moderator rather than looking at the audience. Now, this is an interesting strategy, but it's also very typical of the way that Donald Trump is that he tries to interact and be persuasive with the person sitting in front of him. So he sees this as him talking to the moderators, whereas Kamala Harris seems to be talking to the audience. Obviously, they both know that the goal is to be persuasive to everybody listening, but the way that they try to interact is very, very different, the way that they try to connect.
75 years pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China.
So you can see her touching her cheek, stroking her hair.
Nervous.
That's something we oftentimes do as a way to help manage our emotions. It helps us feel calmer. So when you see things like that, you should pay attention to what the opponent is saying, because that might be something that bothers the one who's reacting.
China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't.
All right. Now watch Harris right here. As he continues to talk about this, you're going to see her eyes squinting. We oftentimes squint our eyes when we hear things that we don't like. So as he's talking about this, you're going to see her squinting repeatedly.
As you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it.
So as you can see, she's squinting, her blink rate's picking up. There's probably some degree of stress going on right now as she's formulating her response.
Interesting.
We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a.
So you can also see right now that Kamala Harris is smiling. Now, she oftentimes does this as a way to mask what she's feeling. And it's not just her. Politicians across the board generally do this as a way to mask how they're feeling. So when they start feeling frustrated or when they get annoyed, they smile instead, because that makes it so you can't really read how they're actually feeling.
A few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States.
So you'll notice after Donald Trump said that, which I presume that Harris interprets as something that might alienate some people, That gave her more confidence. You see her chin go up. You see her exposing her neck more. We oftentimes do this when we're feeling more comfortable, when we don't feel threatened, because this is a very vulnerable part of our body. So as you can see, her position changed once he started talking about race and once he started talking about subjects that were not specific to the economy. So as he navigated away from the economy, as he starts talking about more things like this, it seems to give her confidence.
States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest.
You see, even though she has a slight smile, it's a lot more subtle than the one we saw a minute ago because she feels a lot less threatened by what he's saying now. Like I said, I imagine that she sees this as potentially alienating people, so she probably doesn't mind him talking about these kinds of things because she's going to have plenty to say about it.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
The statistic of just looking at the screen is so cringy, man. It's so cringy, my goodness. Because you know she's trying all these body language technique that they probably told her to do, and it seems very disingenuous. It looks like an old politician trick. It looks like that, like an old politician trick.
As you can see, she's putting her hands out with her palms up. Now, oftentimes this is associated with somebody trying to say, what I'm about to tell you is the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth.
So
you have to listen.
That doesn't necessarily mean it always is, but that's the attempt. So as you see this with her hands up like this is a way of her saying, what I'm about to tell you is really, really important.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
Damn.
Donald Trump left us the worst
All right. So watch Donald Trump's reaction to this.
employment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst.
So closes his eyes, purses his lips. As I talked about before, when Kamala Harris was squinting her eyes because she was hearing things she didn't like, this is also something Donald Trump does not like what she's saying right now. Not only does he squint his eyes, he closes his eyes entirely because it seems to probably bother him to hear this from her.
Country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks.
So you're noticing right now Donald Trump starting to talk with his hands. When he gets in his flow and he really gets into what he wants people to hear, you're going to see him speaking very emphatically with his hands like this. This is very typical for him.
We did things that nobody
He does this too, like this, a lot. That's when you know he's in his own zone.
thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit.
So once again, when he feels like he's got a point that's going to land with people, he's really going to get emphatic with it. He's really going to use his hands a lot. And this the way he's doing it right now is very typical of the way that he talks.
But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
Part of the reason I focus on hands is because hands draw attention to us.
Attention, yeah.
And so when people lie, they tend to try to not bring too much attention to themselves because
Yeah, I'm gonna leave the rest of the video in the description down below, and that way you guys can see it and watch it. He's still doing a good job. I just want to give my 2 cents when it comes down to this. The debate was very good. I like it. I loved it. And personally, I think I wish we had more debates, because I think the American people deserve the truth from our politicians. And it's a shame Kamala Harris is just playing too many games. Too many games. She wants a debate, now she wants another debate, and not like, no, we should not be doing this. We should be, you owe the American people 3 debates minimum from the beginning. But you know, something's not right. I'm gonna leave the links in the description down below, and that way you guys can just watch the original content creator and show some support. Meantime, guys, I will see you in the next one.